In a stunning new message, Jonathan Cahn reveals the one thing God's chosen ones must do before 2025. What happens next depends on your obedience to this single warning. For years, his name has been synonymous with prophetic warnings that shake the foundations of our national consciousness. Jonathan Cahn, a messianic rabbi and author, has built a global ministry on a single sobering thesis: that the United States of America is walking in the footsteps of ancient Israel, following a path of spiritual decline that leads to national judgment. His work isn't about predicting dates on a calendar, but about identifying ancient patterns that are now reappearing with breathtaking precision. The stakes he presents are nothing less than the future of the nation itself. Is America standing on the brink of a prophesied collapse? Or is there a window, however narrow, for repentance and divine mercy? Cahn's message argues that we are living in the most critical of times, a final season of decision. The core of this message is not for everyone. It is a specific, urgent call to a group he identifies as the chosen ones, a remnant of believers who are spiritually awake to the lateness of the hour. According to this prophetic understanding, we have reached a pivotal moment, a national crossroads, and the year 2025 looms as a point of no return. What happens next, for good or for ill, may depend on the actions of this remnant. The air in an ancient kingdom feels heavy, thick with the scent of incense and the low murmur of a nation that has forgotten its God. This is the atmosphere Cahn recreates, not from history books, but as a living parallel to our own time. He argues that America, like Israel, was founded on a covenant with God, and that covenant is now broken. The central pillar of Cahn's analysis is the concept of the harbinger, prophetic signs that manifest in a nation before its judgment. He first brought this to widespread attention by linking a verse from the Old Testament, Isaiah 9:10, to the aftermath of the September 11th attacks. The verse reads, "The bricks have fallen, but we will build with hewn stone. The sycamores have been cut down, but we will replace them with cedars." This was the defiant vow of ancient Israel after suffering an initial attack. Cahn reveals with chilling detail how American leaders in the wake of 9/11 unknowingly recited this same ancient vow, word for word. A felled sycamore tree at ground zero was replaced with a spruce, a cedar in its biblical family. A cornerstone of granite, a hewn stone, was laid to mark the rebuilding of the tower. These weren't mere coincidences, Cahn argues, but the first harbingers, the initial tremors of a coming judgment. But how can we be sure these patterns are truly in effect today, leading toward a specific climax in 2025? Woven into the fabric of biblical law and prophecy is a 7-year cycle known as the Shemitah. Every 7th year, the land was to rest and debts were to be wiped clean. Cahn uncovered a stunning modern correlation. For the last several decades, the end of this 7-year cycle has aligned with the greatest financial collapses in American history. In 2001, the Shemitah year saw the 9/11 attacks and a subsequent market crash. 7 years later, in 2008, another Shemitah year brought the global financial crisis. 7 years after that, in 2015, the next Shemitah cycle concluded with yet another period of extreme market volatility. The feeling is like standing on a set of railroad tracks, hearing the distant rhythmic clatter of an approaching train that is always precisely on schedule. This ancient calendar, Cahn proposes, is acting as a prophetic clock, counting down to moments of profound national significance. The next Shemitah cycle is set to conclude in the fall of 2025, but Cahn warns that this time, the convergence is different. It's not just another 7-year cycle. It is part of a larger, more profound pattern known as the Jubilee. After 7 Shemitah cycles, the 50th year was the Great Jubilee, a time of ultimate restoration, or, if the nation was in rebellion, a time of ultimate reckoning. Cahn's urgent warning for 2025 centers on the idea that America is now facing its own Jubilee moment. The patterns of judgment, the harbingers, and the economic shakings have all been leading to this. It is a prophetic summons, a final call before a great shaking that could alter the course of the nation forever. The year 2025, in this view, is not necessarily an end date, but a gate. It is a moment in which the nation's trajectory becomes fixed, the path of judgment cemented. But who are the chosen ones meant to heed this warning? This term does not refer to a spiritually elite class, but to the biblical concept of the remnant, the body of committed believers who have not bowed to the idols of the age. They are the watchmen on the wall, the intercessors, the ones whose hearts break for the spiritual state of their nation. You know you are one of them if you feel a sense of profound unease, not of fear, but of spiritual urgency. It is the feeling of being awake while others are sleeping, of sensing an approaching storm that others cannot see. This warning is for those who understand that political solutions are inadequate for spiritual problems, and that the battle for the nation's soul must be fought on one's knees. So what is the one thing God's chosen ones must do before 2025? T5. The revelation is not a complex strategy or a secret action. It is the single most powerful spiritual act a person or a nation can perform. Repentance. This is the core of Jonathan Cahn's message. The one thing required is a genuine turning back to God, a rejection of the national sins and idols that have taken root in the land. It is a call for the believers, the chosen ones, to lead the way in personal and corporate repentance, to stand in the gap and plead for mercy on behalf of a nation that has lost its way. The warning is that without this turning, the pattern of judgment will not be averted, it will accelerate. The harbingers will intensify, the shaking will become more severe, and the window of mercy will close. We are faced with the same choice given to ancient Nineveh. When the prophet Jonah delivered a message of impending doom, the king and the people responded with fasting and repentance, and God relented from the disaster he had planned. This, Cahn insists, is the narrow path of hope that remains for America. The alternative is the path of ancient Israel, which ignored the prophet's warnings, hardened its heart, and walked steadfastly into its own destruction. The coming years will reveal which path has been chosen. The message is a call to action, but not to the ballot box or the State House. It is a call to the prayer closet. It is a charge to the faithful to live without compromise, to speak truth without fear, and to intercede for the nation with the urgency of those who know the time is short. If you find messages like this compelling, a necessary warning for our time, consider following for more updates as we continue to watch the signs and report what we see.